Hi guys. Um, how are you? Sorry, I'm like currently trying to sway um, a foreign soldier into participating in this foreign fighter calendar. Also, please, uh, please disregard the fact that that I look like Abraham Lincoln. But since I don't have electricity most of the time, I am I need to like do my hair somehow, and I'm sorry, I'm dying laughing because this conversation, like I messaged him a while ago and I guess he just woke up or something. Thank you, Taz, for being a member for 19 months. That's a lot of months. Uh how to and so he just responded, and it's been a while. And it's been a while, so it's funny that he responded like hours later. Sorry, one sec. One sec. Sorry. I am dying over here. This is very funny. So you guys, I am trying to make this calendar happen with whatever means possible, and I'm currently trying to convince I don't know if you follow him, but he is a combat medic and you probably have heard of him. His name is Ignatius, and I actually posted an interview with him, so I'm currently trying to convince him to participate in this foreign fighter calendar. And he is over here like, I'm out of shape and all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, these are all excuses. And then he's just saying some very funny stuff because he was like, who else is in it? So I sent him like the names of foreign fighters who are in this calendar. And he's like, oh, of course, these guys. And I'm like, we approached people that we thought would agree that also look like calendar material. So are you. It's an offer you can't refuse. Anyways, hi Luann, hi John, hi James, hi Odin, hi Nick, hi Sam, hi Carolyn, hi Brian, hi Taz, hi Doug, hi JJ. TikTok didn't show that I'm live because I was on that phone responding to the situation. Hi Brian, hi John, hi Prexis. Who am I missing? Hi Grumpy, hi Ed. I think that's all. Hi Debbie. Okay, so need a dead bod, I can be in the calendar. Well, we need a foreign fighter. See, it's a calendar of foreign fighters. More rested. I don't know if I'm more rested. Yes, I'm in Ukraine. I look like Abraham Lincoln, okay, because I have this like thing in my hair because I want to wake up tomorrow and not look like I electrocuted myself, because obviously I'm not going to have electricity, and obviously I'm not going to be able to like blow dry my hair or style it in any sort of way. Not that it holds, because to be honest, it's like 60% humidity and like 41 degrees. So today was actually one of the worst days for Ukraine in terms of electricity, because or not for Ukraine, for Kiev at least. So normally we will have like 4 hours no electricity, 2 hours electricity, 4 hours no electricity, 2 hours electricity. Sometimes it's 4 hours no electricity, 4 hours electricity. Today, my electricity went my power got cut at 11 a.m. and it did not come back on until 7 p.m. and I only had 2 hours of it, which I had to spend outside grocery shopping. 41 Celsius is 100 Fahrenheit. Yes. which I had to spend outside grocery shopping because I couldn't go do that during a power outage because I needed like quite a bit of groceries, and then I would have to carry them with no elevator to the 15th floor. So I spent most of my power allotment not even using it. The electricity was either supposed to come back at 1:30 a.m. or at 4 a.m. It is at 1 a.m. or at 4 a.m. It is 1:30 a.m. So I'm assuming we're not going to have any electricity until 4 a.m. again. So that is what it went off at, came back at 7 and went off at 9. So that is about 9 hours without electricity or something. Cool. So I had 2 usable hours of electricity today because clearly I'm not going to be using it from 4 to 6 a.m. Like, what? That's not, that's not, just not tenable and not manageable and just sounds awful. So there's that. Also, we are breaking. So on the 11th, we broke the record for heat in Ukraine, like since the time that records have been kept. And it was like record humidity, record heat. It was awful. And then this week, temperatures are supposed to exceed 44 degrees Celsius. That is like, you know what? Let me see. I'm going to see what 44 degrees Celsius is, because here's the thing. Like, I know I'm actually much better with Fahrenheit, but 44 Celsius to Fahrenheit, but I can't switch between them. I can't translate them into one another. So it's 111 degrees Fahrenheit. It's going to be 111 degrees Fahrenheit. And so I made a video about like literally melting in my apartment today on TikTok. And there were so many Americans from Texas and Florida commenting things like, oh, don't come to Texas. Like, it's much hotter here. Don't come to Florida. It's much hotter here. Like, oh, that's not bad. Okay. The world doesn't revolve around America. I know that not every American thinks that the world revolves around them, because I've lived in America for 13 years and I know a lot of very, very amazing people. But there is a very large part of Americans that for some reason fucking think that the world revolves around them. This weather, like 110, is normal weather for Texas. That's a Texas summer. That happens every summer. 125 is normal for freaking Vegas. That happens every summer as well. 100 degrees Fahrenheit is fine for Florida because that happens every year. In Ukraine, in the past year, our heat index went up 10 degrees Celsius, which is what, like 25 degrees Fahrenheit? This is not normal weather for Ukraine. This is not normal weather for Kiev. For reference, it's between 40, like 41 is a lot. 41 is abnormal. It's going to be higher than 44. So usually summers in Ukraine are 32, 31, 33, and that's like considered super hot days. Like 27, 28 is normal weather. We are in the 40s. And the reason it's happening is A, climate change, B, all the fucking missiles that Russia is dropping onto Ukraine, because a lot of people, I guess, don't understand this, but the emissions into the environment that these missiles cause is heating up the ground. The amount of explosions that have been happening in Ukraine is heating up the ground. So our temperatures are insane. And like, I made a joking TikTok. Like, I wasn't even mean or anything. I was just like, hey, like the walls in my apartment are concrete, and concrete walls tend to sweat when it's too hot, because it's like the walls are cold, the weather is hot, so condensation appears, right? And there were so many people being like, oh, like, why are you complaining? Like, well, not so many, but there were like quite a few Americans being like, why are you complaining? Like, oh my gosh, it's so much worse in like Vegas or Florida or like wherever. Again, first of all, Vegas and Florida and even some of Texas after the hurricane, you guys have power, okay? First of all, normal weather for you, and you're used to it. So for you, this is not bad. It's bad for me. Like, I've lived in New York and I've lived in Ukraine. These are not normal fucking temperatures, first of all. Second of all, you have AC, you have air conditioning, you have power. We don't have air conditioning. We don't have power. We can't go into a nice little, like, corner in our apartment, crank up the AC and just sit there in Antarctic weather. We can't. It's miserable. Miserable. And like, people have dogs. Dogs are dying in people's apartments because it's literally an equivalent of fucking hotboxing them in a car outside. Especially if you live like in a high rise and you have floor to ceiling windows, you are hotboxing your dog. So you take your dog outside, they can't breathe, they're hyperventilating. Like, I have a French bulldog, so obviously, even though she breathes fine, but like, there are many people with different types of dogs in my building. All of them are hyperventilating. So you don't want to take your dog outside because it's too hot. You can't keep your dog inside. Like, I have a spray bottle for my plants and I walk around Cindy and I legitimately consistently spray her with the spray bottle. She hates water, but like, she's been taking it because obviously it's better. Like, I got these stupid thermal water things, they're like, they're in these like spray bottles and they stay cool. And they're like more expensive than regular water because it's thermal water and it stays cool. And so they're just literally meant to be sprayed onto your body or in your face. Like, tennis players use them a lot to cool you down. And like, I have those sitting in my fridge because like, I just am constantly producing sweat and oils. In fact, today, when my electricity turned on, I went and took a shower. And I have a hormonal thing, right? So I sweat and my sweat smells, and I use a lot of different things for it to not do that. Got it figured out. However, today, because I had very little time, I went and took a shower. So I just got out of the shower, right? So I'm like clean and whatever. I put on my clothes, took Cindy, went outside to grocery shop, walked a block, and I could already hear myself smell. Like, smell myself. Like, I could already smell myself because it's so hot and so miserable that you're like sticky and sweaty and disgusting, like at all times. It's gross. I hate it. And I also like genuinely don't do well in hot weather. But the reason why I'm so like awake and happy right now is because there's a fan standing right here. It's plugged into my EcoFlow, and it's just like it's blowing in me. So yeah, that's kind of where we were at. That's my situation. That's everyone's situation in Ukraine. No power, 8 hours at a time. So yeah, I smell so loudly. Or like, you guys, how many degrees is it at night at the moment in Kiev? Stop picking on words that I say. You're mean. Like, clearly I'm not in my right mind. Like, my brain is melting. I can feel it. I can hear it melt. I can hear it. It melts. It melts better than any brain you've ever seen on the planet before. Anyways, 1 second. Let me see what the degree edge is like right now. Okay. The degrees. What are the degrees? The degrees. What am I even looking for? I'm looking for, yes. Okay. Right now at night in Kiev, it is, please load. 77, which is not bad, but humidity makes it feel like 82. Yep. You can also buy fans. I mean, like, it's okay. I can put my fan into the EcoFlow and it works very well. Thank you, Sandy. And it works very well. So I have no complaints in that department. I'm also going to have an electrician come in this week, and that electrician is going to plug in the EcoFlow into my grid if possible. So some of you suggested solar batteries yesterday and asked me to do research on how much it costs. So basically, one battery is $180. And I have 4 of those windows, so I could technically put 4 in there. So what could happen, because I talked to that electrician today, is basically he could, with a lot of extenders, wire it so that the batteries are charging the EcoFlow while the EcoFlow is working for the grid, so powering my apartment. I likely will not be able to turn on AC for long periods of time, like for maybe like 15 minutes at a time or something like that, if I don't want to use all of the EcoFlow charge onto the AC, which I don't. But it'll help basically recharge EcoFlow so it lasts much longer and give it an extra boost, which is kind of cool. But again, you know, it's yeah. Anyways, okay. So, oh, cool. So we start the news with this lovely video, which is titled "Abnormal Heat Wave Hits Ukraine." It's 4 panels, 180 per. So I can put 4 panels because I have those windows. Did I just flip? Oh, because this, yeah, I didn't mean to. Okay, so there is this. These are kids asking for cars to do this to them. This is an egg that is being fried. So this is the weather in Ukraine these days. There are kids standing in the street waiting for people to basically like to basically spray them with water when cars are passing because it's so hot. Like it is just scorching hot. It is, I don't know. I think the only time I've experienced a climate like this in Ukraine was like 16 or 17 years ago in Zaporizhia. And it wasn't this bad. I believe it was like 38 or maybe 40 at the most. And Zaporizhia is in the Zaporizhia is in the east of Ukraine. So climates there are usually hotter. Also, cities are way more concrete, way less greenery and stuff like that. So it's not, you know, it isn't, I don't know. It's hotter there. It's colder in the winter. It's hotter in the summer. So for Kiev and for Lviv and for all of these other areas, this is abnormal, not heard of. And even for Zaporizhia, like 44 degrees is a lot. That's like unbelievable. Okay. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg emphasizes the need for trained pilots and comprehensive defense systems for Ukraine. NATO Secretary highlighted the critical need for not only aircraft, but also for pilots who have the necessary training and qualifications to operate them. We are pushing for this to happen as quickly as possible because it will give Ukraine opportunities for defense. Stoltenberg emphasized that there is no single solution in war that can resolve all issues at once. Such weapons or missiles are not capable of this. We need to combine land, air, and sea systems. We need the courage and determination of Ukrainians, and all this together will ensure success, he said. Yeah, we do need pilots. Like, this is the thing. I think Ukraine was like putting this out into the universe. Also, this is so uncomfortable, so I'm actually going to take it off. Like, at least right now, it's super uncomfortable. So Ukraine was trying to do this thing earlier in the invasion when we were just talking about F-16s, is retired F-16 pilots, like asking retired F-16 pilots to come and join the Air Force, same way as, like, you know, foreign fighters join infantry and stuff. And I wonder whatever happened to that, because I don't think any foreigners who know how to fly aircraft did join. But here's the thing: if you are a retired Air Force member, and you feel like you want to come to Ukraine and do something that you know how to do, we do need pilots for F-16s, because actually it's going to, first of all, probably guarantee us more aircraft if we have trained pilots. And second of all, it's going to make things a lot easier on us if we don't have to train pilots, but we have pilots that are already trained to fight this specific aircraft, which would be fantastic. And there are so many F-16 pilots in the US, particularly. So yes, Italy plans to restore nuclear power, says Financial Times. The Italian government, led by Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, is planning to revive the country's nuclear power industry to reduce carbon dioxide emissions. Italy's last nuclear power plant was closed over 30 years ago. A previous attempt to revive nuclear power by former Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi was halted by a 2011 referendum where 90% of Italians opposed the plans. Recent polls indicate a shift in public opinion, with 37% of Italians now supporting nuclear power. However, 25% of respondents remain firmly against the resumption of the nuclear program due to security concerns. The primary goal of the government is to reduce carbon emissions and address energy security, potentially balancing the public's mixed sentiments with strategic energy policies. So also that would be very helpful for Europe, because if Italy produced nuclear energy, then Europe could be buying that from Italy instead of outsourcing it. And that would actually help everyone quite a bit. In that case, Poland could sell us more and buy from Italy. So, or other countries could do that. So it's sort of like, Italy doing that would actually be very beneficial for everyone. But I understand how after, Russia doing all of these, now, if only they understood. Yeah, so that's the thing. So but I think the concerns about nuclear is not in emissions. I think concerns about nuclear is, with Russia's nuclear blackmail, and with the fact that, if Russia were to attack other countries, it's bombs falling onto nuclear facilities. It's like, when Russia's still doing that to ZNPP. Russia is partaking in nuclear terrorism. So having nuclear power plants in your country does subject you to some incredibly concerning things if you were ever to be invaded, for instance. So yeah, I mean, I understand where they're coming from, where Italians are coming from. EU foreign ministers plan to counter Hungary by holding their own summit in August, instead of attending Prime Minister Viktor Orban's event in Budapest, Politico reports. Why don't they just give Ukraine back their nuclear weapons? Well, because most of those were given back to Russia. Those that weren't most of them were transferred to Russia, rather, not given back to Russia, but transferred to Russia. And those that weren't destroyed. So yeah, they're not going to be giving us our nuclear weapons back. I want to go and fight for Ukraine. I would contact a Ukrainian embassy and talk to them about it, because they will guide you on how to do that. But also, genuinely, I think the best way is to literally show up with whatever gear you have, but you will find people to guide you on the ground on what to do. But I would say embassy, or contact the Foreign Legion and try to figure out, I don't have advice. So here's the thing. If it's, I don't know if it's infantry or Air Force, because you did say that when I mentioned Air Force. So Air Force, I don't know how to do, because Foreign Legion doesn't have an Air Force. But infantry, yeah, contact the Foreign Legion and contact a Ukrainian embassy. A passport is really not that big of a deal. I think it takes 4 weeks to get one, and you can expedite it too if you needed one. Okay, EU foreign ministers plan to counter Hungary by holding their own summit in August instead of attending Prime Minister Viktor Orban's event in Budapest. Hungary, currently presiding over the EU Council, plans to host a summit of foreign ministers in Budapest on August 28th, 29th. However, after Orban blocked aid to Ukraine and made uncoordinated visits to Putin and Xi Jinping, many foreign ministers are looking for a way to avoid supporting what they see as another of Orban's propaganda shows, which it exactly is, because he's going to produce the peace plan he came up with after talking to Putin. Among them is Joseph Borrell, the head of the EU's Foreign Policy Department, will convene an official council of foreign ministers at the same time as Orban's summit, according to the 3 EU diplomats who spoke in condition of anonymity due to the sensitive nature of the plan. If Borrell's official council of foreign ministers takes place on the same day, the ministers will not be able to go to Budapest. Another diplomat added that by boycotting the Budapest meeting, other foreign ministers want to send a clear signal that Hungary does not speak for the EU. This plan has already been informally discussed with several EU countries, including France and Germany. On Wednesday, Borrell's team will present the plan to the EU's 27 permanent representatives. Estonian Prime Minister Kaja Kallas resigned. She's expected to become the EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy. Until the new government takes office, Kallas will continue to serve as Prime Minister. She expressed hope that a new government will be formed quickly. I'm actually so excited for her to take up her new job because she's fantastic, and I think that the EU Council really needs more people from the Baltics, because they understand the current state of world affairs with Russia being a threat more than anyone does. Viktor Orban handed over his peaceful plan to EU leaders, said Balázs Orbán, the political director for the Hungarian Prime Minister. In recent weeks, we have traveled extensively to assess the chances for peace. Our first mission took us to war-torn countries. It became clear that both Ukraine and Russia are determined to fight. Oh, Russia is a war-torn country? Since when? And without external intermediaries, we will see significant destruction in the coming months. We then began talks with potential mediators. China and Turkey are committed to peace, and Donald Trump has also expressed his commitment, promising to act as a peacemaker if he becomes president again. Yeah, Donald Trump said that his peace involves surrendering Ukraine. Thank you, no thank you. However, the Europeans and the current US administration favor continuing the war. No, we favor victory, where Ukraine gets to take our territories and gets to stop people from living in occupation. Yeah, thank you very much. That's what it is. The Prime Minister wrote to the leaders of the European Council about our negotiations, the initial findings of our peace mission, and the Hungarian proposals. If Europe wants peace and aims to play a decisive role in ending the war and the bloodshed, it must now develop and implement a change in that direction, said the representative of the Hungarian Prime Minister. So, I mean, I don't mean to be crude, but they can F right off. No one, like, Orban is Putin's mouthpiece, and he's such a piece of work. Piece of work is what he is. And I don't, I absolutely despise that man, and I wish there was a procedure for excluding countries out of the EU. And I bet the entirety of the EU wishes it too, because it's just, like, it's literally, it crossed all the lines a year and a half ago and 2 years ago, and when the invasion started. But now it's just crossing this threshold that I didn't even think was possible to cross. It's like Orban legitimately represents Russia in the EU. The NATO summit has decided to bolster the alliance's presence in Ukraine, including the appointment of a special representative of a secretary general in Kiev, according to Europravda. Ukrainians plan to finalize a plan with all 10 points of the peace formula for the second summit on peace for Ukraine. At the end of July and the beginning of August, there will be the first meeting at the ministerial level and with security advisors to discuss the conclusions of our peace summit. The first meeting will most likely be in Qatar and will focus on energy security. A comprehensive plan for energy security will be prepared, said President Zelensky. In August, there will be a meeting in Turkey regarding free navigation and food security. In September, there will be a meeting in Canada on the exchange of prisoners and the return of children. A plan will be ready for these points as well. If these steps are successful, a complete plan for all 10 points of the peace formula will be finalized. Spain sent a new batch of military aid to Ukraine, including 10 refurbished Leopard 2A4 tanks. And today, Ukraine celebrated the Statehood Day. Ukrainian statehood is the legacy of thousands of years, formed by the hard work of countless generations. It embodies the eternal Ukrainian values: freedom, liberty, dignity, justice, democracy, and independence. Russia continues its attempts to erase Ukrainian identity, but by celebrating this day, Ukraine underscores that our values cannot be broken. This. Okay, so I'm going to show it. I'm going to have to show it to the YouTube crowd because, so I can't do it on TikTok because it then gives me like violations and whatnot. And then neither my lives nor my videos that are already like barely being shown to anyone they're going to be shown to even less people. So if you want to watch this video, you're going to have to go over to YouTube because it's with subtitles, not a voiceover. So I can only show it. On here. Sorry, guys. I wish I could do it on TikTok as well, but if I do that, it'll result in a bunch of different. I'm already, TikTok hates me.
Чого вона вимагає від нас, від людей цієї країни?
Да.
Що ми можемо дати?
Ну не борьбы же с Российской империей и с русскими.
С Российской империей, з цим чорним піаром, який знищив практично навіть саму можливість усвідомлення мене як українця. Я буду.
Мне кажется, у вас какие-то фантомные чувства. Уже давно этого нет, уже выросло поколение.
Ну,
без этого молодые люди.
І маєте, так сказати, таку зневагу до мене, що розмовляєте зі мною на Україні російською мовою. Фактично ви протестуєте проти того, що я усвідомлюю себе українцем.
Я протестую проти того, щоб
дуже активно протестуєте, дуже масово протестуєте.
Я протестую проти того, чтобы Россию представлять сейчас империей, подавляющую Украину. Вот и все. А это представлено именно так.
So basically, this video is about there is a Russian propagandist who's now like a very avid Russian propagandist, Kisilov, I think his name is, and a Ukrainian cinematographer, and they are talking about the fact that the cinematographer says that it's the Russian Empire and that they're trying to swallow Ukraine, and he's like, that's not true. That hasn't been the case for many generations. This generation grew up without these ideas and like whatever. And it's like, yeah, right. Okay. So yeah, he was right. That's the same propagandist apparently that keeps saying on the Russian TV that the US should be nuked and turned into ashes. The Ukrainian enterprise, where the Bohdana self-propelled guns are assembled, is the record holder in Europe in terms of the number of units produced per month. President Zelensky said during a press conference, U.S. concerns over escalation prevent authorizing ATACMS strikes on Russian territory. Of course. Honestly, like, I have no reactions left to these types of things because it's just so incredibly frustrating that the U.S. continues doing it and saying that we should not be striking deeper into Russian territory. It's like, we are not doing it for fun, and we're not doing it because we want to be able to. We want to be doing it because we want to destroy their military bases and their airfields so they can't keep bombarding us, like in the case with the Children's Hospital. So yeah, that's all I have for you for today. There wasn't as much news as usual, and I also wasn't talking for like 30 minutes about, I don't know, random unrelated stuff out of my life because, to be fair, I'm just melting. Honestly, it's been miserable. I have been working a lot. I have been trying to get this calendar moving. I have been, my first work day is tomorrow. I have to go to the HR and sign a bunch of paperwork. Is it cool enough for you to go to sleep yet? No. No, it isn't. Like, it's miserable, and I don't think power is going to turn on until 4 a.m., but it's like, I'm gonna sit here, wait for 4 a.m. I'm gonna try to fall asleep, even though it's highly unlikely because I can't, like, it's so hard for me to fall asleep in heat. But, don't melt in the meantime. Easier said than done. Easier said than done, but I will try not to how are the mosquitoes? Well, because I'm on a high floor, fortunately, mosquitoes don't bother me. I mean, at least yet. I don't know. So have the fan on you. Yeah, I mean, I will. But I also, so this is why I'm excited for the electrician to hook this up to the grid, is because hi Gina, thank you, is because I have to move my EcoFlow to my bedroom, otherwise right now at least. So there is that. Alrighty, you guys, I'm gonna go to sleep. I need to figure out a bunch of stuff tomorrow. I need to figure out so much stuff tomorrow. Uses a portable neck fan. It's actually funny. You'll see. Buy a second EcoFlow. Yeah, because I just randomly have like $1,500 laying around to do that. Also, like, I think solars might actually be a much better. You should have gotten a small 4-wheel dolly for it. You guys, I don't think I'm functioning anymore. I need to go to bed or try. Bye, I'm gone. Also, Armin's quote of the day. Sorry. A change in the weather is sufficient to recreate the world and ourselves. Marcel Proust. I don't know the name, but Marcel Proust. It's a good quote, but honestly, this change in weather is not doing me any favors, and by any means. Okay, you guys, I'll see you tomorrow.